talk on camera about what I think about nutrition, which is different than maybe what you're out there. I am not on nutrition as a diet, although I I do think that managing weight is important, but I just don't like diets. And I wanted to just maybe tell my story, but not just to a camera. I wanted to tell it to my community, and then hopefully get a really good thing started, right? This Live the Young nutrition started. So I want to tell you a little bit about my struggles with food. I've always been more of kind of like a binge eater. Like I could eat a lot of food. I could eat a whole bag of chips without even knowing that I ate the whole bag of chips, right? And I always lived like that. And then I would work out really hard to get rid of those bag of chips, right? So I like worked out all the time to eat like a butthead, really. I kind of just I ate like a 2-year-old. I really did through my 20s and my 30s, even in my 40s. And so what I do now is a few things. I put my own boundaries up, right, Paula? Like those 3 hours on Saturdays are yours. My boundaries came from fasting, from making sure that I wasn't overloading my digestive system. So instead of trying to fix my binge eating and try to fix my junk eating, try to fix, not wanting to count calories or count macros or be on a diet, I put some boundaries up, and that was fasting. And fasting started more as a weight loss thing, but now years later, and now at the age 48, fasting and what I've learned about it, and also just all the trials and tribulations I've been through, what I realize is that fasting is helping me to live young. It gives me the energy that I need. It gives me the creative sparks that I'm looking for. It doesn't When I am fasting, it gives my digestive system a time to recover. And I think that we as Americans are not fasting for at least 12 hours every day, which is the minimum amount of hours your digestive system needs to have in recovery phase. Okay. So, what I mean by that is if you tracked your fasting hours for me this week, you may find that you're not getting all 12 hours, and that is minimum, because if we're not getting those 12 hours minimum, that's not even fasting. That is just what our bodies need so that we do not, in a way, clog the system, right? The system needs to be able to completely cleanse itself and then recover for some time before it starts working again. And so many times we eat at like 10 p.m. and then we're up at 6 a.m. drinking coffee and creamer, right? And eating eggs and toast or cereal or bagel or whatever. And our system only had 6 hours, 8 hours, not enough time to completely rejuvenate itself before we clog the system with more. Okay. So that means the system has to overwork. And when the system overwork, it gets fatigued. And when it gets fatigued, I feel like the whole system gets fatigued. Muscular system, nervous system, right? The emotional bodies. I feel like it just pulls us down in a way. So with that said, let me let Jamie in really quick. I kind of switched to the fact that I do make sure I do 12 hours every day, but I really go for 14 to 16 hours. But really what this program is about, and when you're just starting with me, I really only want you to consider 12 hours to start with. Okay. So, Paula, you mentioned that you tracked your hours. Can you tell me a little bit what you found out about yourself?
So with my constant rush, I end up eating late because of the time that they leave and all that I have to do before I can start cooking. And then I have to be up to, for them to come in the morning. So it's early when I get that coffee. And so while I thought that I was doing okay, I wasn't like writing it down. And so I thought I was doing like 12 hours. And then I realized, well, that maple syrup and that cream is breaking my fast, even though I don't eat till 11 or 12. So I'm basically pretending this whole fasting thing because I'm like, yeah, I don't eat. And then I don't want to give up that cream and that maple syrup. So it's not really a full 12 hours.
So what are your hours?
So Saturday, I tracked the last meal, 6:30. Last time I put anything calorie inducing in my mouth was 6:30. Sunday, morning 9:20, evening 7:45. Monday 6:51 a.m., 8 p.m. Tuesday 8 a.m., 7:15 p.m. Wednesday 7 a.m., 6 p.m. So it's not totally off, but it's not it's not a strict boundary set 12 hours. So
So weirdly, we are the same because I love vanilla creamer, natural bliss vanilla creamer, right? And I wake up with that. I want it in the morning, and the little adjustment that I've struggled so hard. I've punished myself. I've tried. I said I'm not going to drink vanilla creamer anymore. And now what I've done is make a little adjustment. I still get my vanilla creamer, but I get it more now for my mid-morning treat, if you will, right?
yeah.
And I do not like black coffee. I love my creamer. You have to understand, I love my creamer. But I want to tell you, since about basically what I do now is I've learned how to teach myself to love my black coffee. And I'm just going to tell you how I did it. Okay. So, what I do is I get up and I only get my water and black coffee. And then after I get all my classes done, if I feel like eating, then I'll eat. Or if I feel like having that cup of coffee I love so much with my vanilla creamer, that's when I have it, right? And that's the switch I have made because I lived for many years like you, saying I was a faster, but was still drinking that coffee. And once I started taking notes, like you just said, I realized that 8, 9 hours were going, I was only going 8, 9 hours. I mean, you're closer to the 12 than I ever was. Okay. So, I lived like that too. And I would say it wasn't breaking our fast the way it would be if we ate eggs, bacon, and pancakes, right? But it was still just making the system go back to work and wake up and not stay in that slumber mode, that recovery mode. And so a few short months ago, I decided I was going to just go to black coffee in the morning, before my classes. So here's what I did. I would put it up, I'd put it here and I'd smell it and I'd be like, I'm grateful for this. And I'd take a drink and I would say to myself, I love black coffee. And I did that for a few days. And I'm telling you, I think I like black coffee. It took me a while, but it helped. A lot of it is in the mind. In some ways, we have to change that conversation. You say to yourself all the time, I love this cream and this maple syrup, just like I just love my vanilla creamer. I get it. There is a love affair with this. But you can also fall in love with black coffee and you don't even have to do black coffee. There was a while there that I was like, I just won't have coffee in the morning. I should be able to control my coffee habit. But I love having that hot cup of, coffee in the morning. It's like a routine. So instead of me telling myself I can't have my routine that I love, I just had to make a small adjustment and I get to wait for that creamer coffee later on in the day after I break my fast. Just some tips, just some things to think about. I make mine I don't know. I'm not a measurer, I do instant coffee too. I am not fancy. I'm not fancy. So yeah, it's regular, but I want to tell you one more thing. I do put cinnamon in my black coffee. That has also helped me. And cinnamon helps and I don't know this for a fact, but through my research, it helps to regulate blood sugar, which is the reason why but I have never been able to test my blood sugar on cinnamon. So you can't take that as fact. It's only what I've actually read and researched. So anyway, I put cinnamon in it. And I put cinnamon in my vanilla creamer one too. So I love that cinnamon smell, which is part of the psychology of my hot cup of coffee. So maybe that maple syrup smell is that sweetness smell that you like too, that is like it's a trigger that's like, oh, this is my time. this is my morning. This is what I get before I start my busy, crazy day, right? So maybe adding a little bit of cinnamon in there, taking a moment and still just loving that cup of coffee for being for you, you know? And then as well, now I've extended my morning beautiful time to my mid-morning afternoon cup that I get, right? And I kind of like to have it after my fast meal, the meal that I break my fast with whatever it is, right? And then I almost like to have that cup of coffee because when I eat, I do get a little tired because when the digestive system goes into action, all your system is working a little bit more and it pulls you down and makes you a little tired. So then that mid-morning after my first meal, cup of coffee with creamer, that has almost become my, oh, this is my time. I'm done with my classes. I've still got lots of work to do, but I've got some work done and now I get this coffee. So maybe that's another way.
Yes, sounds good. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, awesome. Hi Jamie, I'm going to say hi to you. I'm glad you made it. Julie, I only want you to participate because if you could just listen, you could do whatever you want, whatever you're feeling. But did you track your fasting at all?
I mentally a little bit. I also kind of suffer from disordered eating if I'm not careful. Left the whole diet culture about 2 years ago, so
Yeah.
I'm really cognizant of things that trigger that. But no, I know that I don't fast 12 hours. I used to try the intermittent fast, and it'll just send me, if I start thinking that way, it sends me spiraling.
To that. So I would love to speak to that because I have people say this to me on TikTok, right? When I talk about this, and I actually got tagged on, I got community guidelined on TikTok, and TikTok sent me all this information about disordered eating, and I was like, wait, what? Because I was talking about fasting, and I'd never even heard of disordered eating, to tell you the honest truth, until TikTok sent me all this information about it. And this is what I do hesitate adding this nutrition component because I don't want people working out with me to lose weight. I changed my tone when I lost my hips because I stopped that whole, in a way, disordered eating and working out to burn calories because once I lost my ability to move, I realized none of that matters. All I wanted was my ability to move and to feel better back again. So the way I teach and the way I present in my community is totally different than the way I used to be. And so I hesitate about bringing this component into the Feel Better program or even into the AgeDEFY world. But the only reason why I feel good about it is because if you notice, I never say intermittent fasting. I say AgeDEFY fasting or live young fasting because it's really from the standpoint of when we clog our digestive system, we start to feel aging stuff happen to us, right? Brain fog. Like I have a lot of women in my life who are in menopausal age, right? As I am as well. And they talk a lot about brain fog. And I don't have it. And I'm not for sure if it's because of my fasting, but that's what I believe in, right? Like that's it. So I guess it's such a delicate subject, and I definitely get your triggers, but I really wanted you to understand where I was coming from on this. And this is a program, I don't want you fasting to be on a diet or change anything. I want you fasting because I want your digestive system just to take a break, right? Just to be able to have that recovery time. On the intuitive eating, I did mention intuitive eating today on my post. And I want to talk to you, but I want to talk to all of you about the way I think about intuitive eating. Intuitive eating is like, don't eat until you actually feel hunger pains, right? And even then, you don't have to just jump right up and do it like you're saying, Julie, right? My intuitive eating, mine's all about the mind, okay? If I find myself in the kitchen, because I'm an emotional eater is what I am. I've noticed that if I want to avoid cleaning my house, if I want to avoid making a video for AgeDEFY, if I want to avoid editing videos for AgeDEFY, if I'm worried about what's happening to my son in school, I will find myself eating just mindlessly, right? So what I am still currently training myself to do. So you're saying one step at a time, little adjustments, Julie. That's still me. Every day I'm still making little adjustments. I'm still finding new things, right? So one thing that I do is I say to myself, when I open the fridge, let's say looking for something to eat, I'll say, Donnell, are you hungry? Right? Ask myself, Donnell, are you hungry? And I'll check in with myself, and then I'll go a little deeper. Why do you feel like eating? And I immediately am like, oh, it's because you don't want to do those videos. Go ahead, sit down and do those videos. So instead of it being intuitive eating, just like, why are you opening the fridge? Are you hungry or are you not? I take it one step further and ask myself, why do I think I'm there right then and there? And it usually brings me to the time where I feel I'm avoiding something. So I stuff my face to avoid things I don't want to do. That is literally what my problem is, and I've only been able to really get in touch with that by doing that intuitive questioning process. Donnell, what are you doing? Are you really hungry? I don't know. Why do you think you're here? Because I don't want to clean my bathroom. Do you know what I'm saying? Like literally. So that's just I'm only here to just offer tips and my own personal experiences on this, right? So that has helped me. That has I would say I'm apt to walk away from the food 60% of the time. Not 100%, 60%. But that 60% is a huge improvement when I never ask myself those questions. Okay. So, Jamie, I'm not for sure if you're available to talk or.
Hi, I never tracked my fasting hours, but I actually normally don't eat till after supper or like when supper is done. So if I eat at like 5 or 6 or whenever, I'm done, except this week. So it's funny psychologically that I normally don't eat, but now that you talked about the fasting on that Saturday Zoom, I'm eating at like 10 o'clock at night. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, what is wrong with me? And I'm like, it's because it's like, great, I'm going to get into it and do it. But I'm pretty sure I hit it. And I normally don't have a coffee. And I'm like, Paula, I love creamer. I got out of sugar years ago, but yeah, I would love to get out of that, having the creamer and just having like tea, because I got off coffee a while ago, but yeah, so that's where I'm at.
So it's funny that you say that, because I did this whole TikTok video and I was like, I just don't eat after 8 p.m. It's very rare you ever find me eating after 8 p.m. I did that. And literally for 4 days, I was eating at 9 p.m. I was like, I'm a liar. What is wrong with me? It is such a psychological battle all the time. And that comes back to what I say to myself. Then when that intuitive conversation, like, Donnell, what is going on, right? Why are all of a sudden you're eating at 9 p.m.? I didn't need to be. I literally was just eating at 9 p.m. And with that awareness and with that questioning process, I haven't done it for the last few days again, right? I'm back onto my regular schedule. I don't know what that is, but I actually, tell you the truth, that you said that to me, I actually feel more normal. So, because that's so weird. Julie said she was a scientist. I'm like, maybe she could figure out this part of it.
I think it's sort of like last meal syndrome. The second you start thinking about anything diet related, you're hyper focused on it, right? So if I think that's why I can't do keto, because I will literally binge on carbs and sugar when I say I'm going to start Monday or tomorrow, right? I don't know. That's how my brain works. So that's, I don't know.
And before, when I was doing, before when I was doing my 8 p.m. though, it was just doing it. I wasn't really talking about it. And then I announced it to the world. That's what I do. And maybe it is that whole like, oh man, now it's 8 and I can't eat anymore. This sucks. I'm going to eat. It's almost like a rebellion in me. Well, let's see here, Jamie, how'd you quit coffee?
Actually, I was addicted to coffee. I never got energy from it. It's kind of a weird thing. Like, I see things differently in the world, and I woke up, I thought I had died, and something was there and said, stop drinking coffee. And so I just cold turkey stopped drinking coffee, and they said, coffee will kill you. And so I just I switched to tea, and now I'm trying to get off like a black tea, but I'm trying to get onto herbals, but it's a slow and steady process.
Yeah. I love it. That inner voice, that inner whatever it is, you have to listen to it. So I'm so glad you listen to it and stuff. I do want to talk about one more thing in this workshop. There's going to be more in the future, and you guys are always with me. I don't even care if I don't see you in another program or nothing like that. You can come to these Live Young nutrition programs anytime you want. But the one thing I want to leave you with is I also mentioned earlier in this video that I'm prone to binge eating. I can eat a lot of food at one time. So I have made little adjustments and tricked my mind. And the way I do it is I love cabbage right now. I love crunchy things, right? So leafy salads are not, they don't do anything for me. So cabbage is more crunchy. I freaking will put a huge bowl of cabbage together. I love honey mustard dressing, and then I'll put whatever protein, chicken, I call it a hamburger salad. I'll grill up some hamburger, organic grass-fed beef, and then I'll put it in that cabbage with the mustard, and sometimes I add a little mayonnaise, and it's a great big bowl of cabbage. And I love cheese, and so I can handle cheese. Cheese is not an off thing to me, so I'll cut up some cheese and put in there, and then sometimes I do some tomatoes in there and peppers, and I will fill this gigantic salad bowl up with all this good stuff, and then my 1 or 2 servings of protein on it, and I will eat that. And that is like binge eating to me, but in a healthier way, right? In a more controlled way. It tricks my mind thinking I'm eating all, and I get all the food, and it has helped me. It's helped me over these last, the reason why I really dived into some of these adjustments is because after both my hip replacements, I did gain 20 pounds just like that. So women that you hear on TikTok saying I hit menopause and I just gained 20 pounds, I understand what they're saying because it happened to me. But all those women that are talking about that are also talking about choosing hormone replacement therapy to help them with that. And I was so close to doing it because all my friends are on it right now, are just starting to go on it. And I was so close to doing it, but I said, let me just see if I change the way I look at food and the way I present myself with, and I let my digestive system recover. Can I do this, right? And I was able to lose that 20 pounds, not because I went on a diet, just because I made these little adjustments. I quit having my cream coffee at 5 a.m. and I have it later on in the day. I make a giant bowl of cabbage salad and I fill it up, and that tricks my mind to thinking that I have a whole bunch of food, but it's not a bag of chips, because I don't want to be on a diet, but I also don't want to eat a bag of chips because that doesn't serve me either, right? So it's like that way, let's meet in the middle. So that's one of the tips that I've taken. And then as well, like I said, the intuitive eating, asking myself more questions than just am I hungry, but also asking myself, why am I here? Why am I standing in front of the fridge right now? And 60% of the time, that why, that answer takes me away from the fridge. Not because I don't need to eat. It's just the fact that I also don't need to eat when I've already eaten or I'm not hungry, and I'm literally only eating for an emotional response. So those are a little bit of my tips and tricks right now that have been working out for me. As well, not only just the 20 pounds, to me, that's still the byproduct. I really didn't even do it for the 20 pounds. I really did it to see if I could stay off HRT and handle my changing hormones, right, by myself instead of being on medication to manage them. And I'm not saying I won't one day, but I just wanted to see what I could do on my own. And these were the changes that I made. And I really feel so energized. I feel good, and my hips feel good, and I'm sleeping well, and I have not chosen to do any hormone stuff. So that's why I wanted to share my story with you guys in this program. So let's recap. Keep track of your fasting hours, just not for like a diet, but just fasting hours for improving the entire system, our aging system in the general, to have that less brain fog, improved energy levels, to know that the digestive system itself needs a recovery period, just like anything else. Sometimes our mind needs a break. Sometimes our bodies need a break. Sometimes our internal system needs a break. And those fasting hours is that break for your digestive system to recover and replenish so that it can work forever for you, right? And at a high level, optimal level for you. As well, when the digestive system isn't clogged up, the lymphatic system can flow a little bit easier as well. So they go together. Intuitive questions. Are you hungry? Are you not hungry? Why are you eating? Why do you want to eat? Why do you want to snack? What are you avoiding? That kind of stuff. And then volume eating, right? If that's what you need, make little adjustments to trick your brain into not thinking. I mean, I'm eating probably even more food than I ever have because I'm eating this gigantic bowl of cabbage every day. I eat a bag of cabbage every day because I make a gigantic bowl of cabbage, and then I just fill that bowl with protein and other vegetables. And then I love honey mustard. I know that sounds weird, but I love honey mustard all over it. My favorite is when I make the hamburger salad. Hamburger, season it, put it in there. It's just like having a burger, but it's a cabbage salad instead. That's just one of my tricks, and I hope it helps.
There's minor details that are holding me back from achieving the goals that I need to achieve. Now, weight loss is important for me, but I don't overeat. Sometimes I will binge. Sometimes, I'm not saying I don't do that occasionally, but I'm not like stuff in my face constantly. I am an emotional eater, but my hours are an issue. And so that coffee thing, which that's going to be fixed this week, because I need that to not be in my way. And now mobility, I love that you say that mobility is important, that you feel good, because that takes the pressure off of weight. Now, not that it's not important, but you take the pressure off of it, because it is more important that you feel good than how you look, because how you look will come, obviously, because you feel better. Mentally, you feel better. Physically, you feel better, and you can do more as you feel better.
Yeah.
That's what I've seen over the course of the past few months since starting AgeDEFY in October. I feel better mentally, physically. Now, I still hit slumps. I do that probably once a month, but it's improving. So these little bitty things are going to help so that I can see the results. Now, I started strong, and I got a kettlebell. And so that I've incorporated. Now, once I get over the sickness, I'll be able to jump back in head first and make more routine of all that. So thank you.
You're so welcome. I do want to mention one thing, though. Remember what Jerry said in the last Feel Better course, and it's on video too. It's in the before class conversation for this last week. He said he's been doing AgeDEFY with me for a while. He never really thought about nutrition, but all of a sudden he's thinking about nutrition now because he wants his AgeDEFY. He wants to feed into his AgeDEFY, right? He wants to feed into the ability. His body's feeling so good that for the first time he's now thinking about nutrition because he wants his body to feel even better. So I think the point is the same. We cannot be on a diet. We're only here to feel better. And when we feel better, we just start making these little adjustments so that we continue that feel better course. And when we hit slumps, that's calming the chaos right there. You can't stop feeling slumpy one day. I know that's probably not the right word, but you can't stop feeling fatigued one day. So let yourself be fatigued that day, right? And then the next day, yes, exactly, Julie. Like let it happen. Lean into it. Calming the chaos is like, okay, I'm feeling this way today, so I'm going to be this way today. The thing is, you also have to set boundaries and say, I'll give myself a day, maybe 2, to feel this way. But on day 3, even if I still feel this way, I'm getting back up and I'm taking a class, right? It's like that. That's what I want you guys to think about. Don't stop your feelings, but also don't get lost in them.
Yeah.
right? In all realms, whether it comes to nutrition, movement, everything. Okay. You can't.
Emotions are huge.
They're so huge, and we cannot avoid them or stop them. We have to embrace them, but also tell them goodbye sometimes. But that's where community is, right? If you're like, you know what, Julie, if you're like, I feel like this again tomorrow, I'm going to stay here again tomorrow. But you know what? On Saturday, I'm getting up with Donnell and I'm doing the 9 a.m. and I'm also going to ask her to let me do the 10 a.m., that kind of stuff. And let me just tell you one thing. I'm going to tell you where this came from. My first heartbreak came from when it was a while ago, and this is going to sound so weird, but my best girlfriend cheated on me with my boyfriend. They cheated on me together. And it was my first heartbreak ever. I thought I was going to die. I've never felt such pain in my entire life. And I said to myself and all my friends, I said, I'm going to give myself 7 days on the couch. I'm not going to go to work. I'm not going to talk to anybody. I'm going to have my 7 days on the couch. I'm just going to watch TV. I'm not doing anything. I'm going to feel this for 7 days. And on day 8, I'm going to get up and I'm going to go back to work. And I let myself just completely melt for 7 days. And on day 8, I went back to work. And I'm telling you, I don't know where that came from. It's kind of like what Jamie said about the coffee and that inner voice that said, stop drinking coffee. That I had that inner voice in my soul that said, give yourself 7 days, feel it completely. And then on day 8, it's time to go back to life. And it wasn't easy on day 8, but I went back to life. And if I didn't, I would have probably stayed on that couch for 3 months. That's how bad it was. Does that make sense? But I also couldn't ignore it. I needed to stop my life completely and give myself 7 days. And it was just that inner voice. And ever since that experience, I kind of apply that to everything in my life. When I'm feeling it, like on a day where I'm like, oh, I don't have anything to give to anybody. I'm going to lay down today, but tomorrow I'm going to get back up and give again. That is just what has helped me. So I hope that helps somebody out there. Well, if you don't have any questions or want to say anything, I think this is great. I'm going to try to get a recording and put it online and just keep playing around. Keep making little adjustments, keep seeing what happens, and come see me on Saturday.
Thank you, Donnell.
Thank you, everyone.
See you Saturday.
Big hugs. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.